We are all huge fans of yours.
Thanks. I'm a huge fan of yours, actually.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I think what you do is really important.
Oh, that's very kind.
It's true.
Very kind. I have loved you since Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah, the good old days.
Oh my God. Forgetting Sarah Marshall is still, I think, one of the greatest rom-coms of all time. Still holds up.
Thank you. Wow.
Yeah. And nominated for an Emmy last year for season 1 of Shrinking.
Yeah.
Now you're back at it, season 2.
Yeah.
You're not just starring in this show, you co-created it with Bill Lawrence and Brett Goldstein. How did that all come about?
I'm really lucky. I got kind of a free ride on this one in that I got a call from Bill and Brett. They had both had an idea about a therapist going through a nervous breakdown, and they got in touch with me and asked if I wanted to play the guy. Actually, the truth of the story is apparently I was on a walk and I was listening to, I know what I was listening to at the time. I was listening to Signed, Sealed, Delivered by Stevie Wonder. And I was like, yeah, I was walking along kind of dancing to myself. And apparently the producer texted Bill Lawrence, just saw Jason Segel. He seems happy. Let's do a show with him. That's a true story.
I love that.
Yeah, life's not fair at all.
I have got to start dancing in the streets more often.
I couldn't agree more. It changed my life.
I have to say, if I did that, I feel like people would be like, someone needs to pay that woman to stop moving like that.
Yeah.
It wouldn't work for
I'm
me.
also a gigantic human being, and I live in a small town, and I kind of function like the town Big Bird.
Just a joyful Big Bird.
Yeah, I do what I can.
Oh my God, your chemistry is so good with Harrison Ford on this show. You have this great like buddy comedy dynamic. How did you get him to sign on to do comedy? Did he see your full frontal scene in Forgetting Sarah Marshall? Because I'll be honest, it's the whole reason you're here today.
Yeah, I accept that. I have not told this story, actually. It's funny you ask, because I know you're joking. He was not that familiar with me. Okay. And so they said, you should watch Forgetting Sarah Marshall. You'll get a sense of what this guy does. And apparently, he went off and he watched it. And he texted Bill Lawrence, I'm in. BTW, good dick. And I have it framed.
Oh, good.
I have the text printed and framed.
I feel like you could almost retire after that. Not that anyone wants you, but I mean, you got Harrison Ford to compliment your dick.
Yeah. Good job, kid.
You should have gotten that Emmy.
I know. Yeah, I know.
Jesus.
Pretty cool, right?
You also work with one of our Daily Show alums, the brilliant Jessica Williams.
The best.
Yes.
The best.
She really is.
I'm sure you know and relate, but like doing improv is a vulnerable thing.
Yeah.
And there is a sense that if you go past the line, it can be embarrassing. If you get it wrong, it can be embarrassing. And I have never had a co-star be so there to catch the ball and throw it back with the mentality of like, if this ship is going down, we're going down together. I will ride the Titanic down with you. And I just feel, I haven't felt this way since Paul Rudd. I feel like, I feel like I have a teammate that I can depend on till the end.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
We love her. We miss her very much. Does she
I
ever
bet.
talk about us?
Yeah. All the
No,
time.
that's a lie. You're
Yeah.
lying. You're a good actor, though.
Yeah, no, she hasn't mentioned
You play a therapist
Yes.
in this show. Are you good at giving advice? Do people in your life come to you and ask for guidance?
That's a good question. I suppose they do, yeah. I get right at it. Like, I don't really have a sense of pride or shame.
Great.
Yeah, so if someone asks me about my life, I kind of go right to it. And I think that opens a door of vulnerability so people can share stuff.
Totally.
Yeah.
I'm happy you said that.
Okay,
because,
good. Oh, great. You got some questions?
We asked some people around the office to submit some questions that we would love for you to give advice
ready.
on. Are you
Absolutely,
ready?
yeah.
Okay, real quick. Marry, kill. Which of those is the worst to do at your sister's wedding? You have to pick one.
Yeah, marry.
Marry.
Yeah.
That is probably the worst thing you could do.
Yeah.
How do you handle a coworker who keeps slacking off by only coming in 1 day a week?
This is a very specific one, isn't it?
It's very specific.
Yeah. Just tell them they're doing a great job.
Great job.
Yeah, great job.
Great job. Mondays are good enough for
Yeah,
us.
that's right. Mondays are going to
Stay in
have
your
to be
lane.
good enough.
Stay in your lane.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
My boyfriend just
You're the
got...
anti-Garfield.
I
Yes.
Love Mondays.
Yes.
Love Monday. Okay. My boyfriend just got in some legal trouble involving 1,000 bottles of lube at his house.
Oh, no.
Should I dump him?
It's a good time. It's a good time to move on. Yeah.
All signs point to get out of the
trouble.
Get
It's
out of
so
Dodge.
much lube. It's
That's
so
a lot.
much lube.
It's a shocking amount of lube.
Yeah.
It really is.
That's a forgetting Sarah Marshall amount of lube.
That really.
Thank you.
Great reference. Okay. This one, totally anonymous. How can I be better friends with guests on the show that I find super interesting and have cool friends like Harrison Ford?
Oh, that's the sweetest. It happened already. I feel like it happened already.
Oh my God. It's almost as good as Harrison Ford complimenting my dick. That's a good, it's right up there.
Yeah.
Thank you. We're friends now.
For sure.
You have just wrapped season 2 of Shrinking.
Yeah.
What are you doing next?
I'm leaving tomorrow to go to Finland to make an action movie.
It's the coolest thing that you possibly could have said.
Yeah.
Well, I think I know what your superhero attribute is.
What's that?
Well, Harrison Ford said it,
Oh,
not
I
me.
see, yes. Yeah, I forget that I'm like a gigantic human being. And when I do this fight choreography, in my head I'm like small. I'm like Kermit in my own brain. But it turns out I look like a one-man killing machine when I'm doing these fight scenes. It's really exciting.
It's so... Are you allowed to talk about the premise?
No, I can't yet.
Okay, totally. But you go and you film tomorrow.
Yeah, and I have abs right now.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
You say that like I feel like you want to show us your abs. Is that true?
I promised Harrison could see them first.
Yes, that is fair. Please give him my regards.
I will.
Jason Segel, everyone.
Please welcome Coleman Domingo. They love it. Did you feel, even in that clip, we show a 13-second clip, and there's a beat, and the audience is silent, and the teardrops. That's some top-notch action right there, Coleman Domingo.
Thank you so much.
You are feeling in that moment.
Oh, man, thank you so much. It's a beautiful film. It's a film about the power of art.
Yeah.
And when you pour it into a human being, what blossoms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
It's gorgeous. I wish you could just bottle like the joy and the hope that's in this film and just pass it out to everybody here right now.
You're all
did.
going to get his gifts.
Oh, great. Oh, that's great. That's great.
You're going to get one, and you're going to get one, and you're going to get one.
There's a little bit of joy underneath all your seats. It is a beautiful story. The transformative power of art. Did you have a moment for you as somebody who's been in the arts, on stage, in front of the camera? What do you think of when you think back on that?
You know, listen, I was a very shy kid and like just a nerd, and I just felt like, unpopular. And honestly, the moment I took a theater class, and it sounds so like silly in a way, but I took a theater class.
Yeah.
And I felt like I came alive because I started to put myself in someone else's shoes and become other characters. And I really felt like I had a voice. And literally, I think my voice dropped into a deeper place.
Yeah.
And usually, even when I teach acting, every so often I would teach acting, I teach people more than anything to have a voice. I think that's the most important thing that you get out of like learning theater, in every single way. So that's the gift that I was given.
Yeah.
And that's what I like to share with other people. And that's why this film is very important to me, because I
Yeah.
feel like it's just about finding your voice, finding that you have feelings, you can name them, and you can actually place them. And actually, it does some really good work in our film. It's based on a rehabilitation of the arts program at Sing Sing Prison, where these inmates were doing theater, and they really gained some skills that they didn't know that they even needed, and so much so that it just transformed their lives.
Yeah, and a lot of the. Many of the actors in the film were a part of this program, were formerly incarcerated.
90% of our cast are formerly incarcerated men.
Is that right? 90%. It's remarkable. What is it like? What is it like collaborating with folks who are formerly incarcerated compared to Hollywood nepo babies?
Well,
Like, were you just relieved to be like, oh, there's no nepo babies on the call sheet today?
Thank God, finally. But you know what's kind of cool is that these guys had the lived experience of going through this, but also they were trained while they were on the inside. So I was working with actors, people who had training and had respect for Shakespeare, and we were just doing the work together. So we sat at the table and we just collaborated in a very gentle way. Now these guys, a lot of guys were in prison maybe 20 years, 25 years, and so. But I love, it's a little subversive because when you see the film, you don't know really. Well, now you know because I told you. But you don't know really still because it feels like a documentary in some way. But then you realize that people are playing versions of themselves when they were in the inside. Right. It's really incredible.
When you're even working with like one of your close friends who you're sort of paired with within the film, Clarence, you have scenes where you're actually working about going over lines and what have you, which in some ways is almost meta as to the things that you were doing off camera.
All of it is so meta because a lot of these guys actually were. We filmed in 2 decommissioned prisons in upstate New York, and a lot of guys passed through those prisons. They were downstate is one of those prisons that everyone sort of lands at, and then they're spread out throughout New York. But a lot of guys were like Clarence Macklin Jr. Literally, he said we were filming one scene, and he knew, he said, oh no, there was a cell that I was in before. So it had that meta, but also had a meta quality that my best friend Sean San Jose is actually my best friend.
Is that right?
Actually, exactly. I've known him for 30 years. He's another professional actor that I know from San Francisco. So there is the meta of, that's why I think it feels like a documentary because there's something really real happening. Yeah. And I feel like, there's no real, the only agenda is looking into a person's humanity and filling it with art and hope. That's the agenda of the film.
Yeah, you know what I found really remarkable? It's such a lovely film. It feels so... if the right word, it feels insular in that, like, I've seen many films that take place inside a prison that have so many external plots that act on these characters. Yeah. And I think this movie lives so much within the characters. And there's a world that exists outside of it and consequences that exist within the prison itself, but it really sits with people kind of dealing with their own emotions and how they connect with one
Which is so rare, because usually anytime you see a prison drama or something, it's all these tropes that you usually see. It's violence, it's a horror story. Now, I'm not going to say it's not a horror story, but inside there are other people in there, people who are like trying to advocate for others, who are in the law library, trying to advocate for good food or make sure their fellow inmate is ready for their parole board hearing, or starting theater programs, or gardening, or taking care of animals and things like that, and how it's having a profound effect on them. So much so, and I love to give this out because a lot of people don't know. Like, I didn't know about this until I started going on this journey, that there is a 3% recidivism rate amongst members who go through this program compared to 60% nationwide. So it's something that works.
Is that right?
That's the truth, yeah.
Give people a little bit of hope and a connection to one another.
Yeah, but also I like to say the film is actually really funny too, which no one would ever believe when you think, oh, it's about like inmates. You're like, it's actually really funny. These guys are doing some. First of all, we have a whole crazy play musical that we're doing in it.
Is that and that's based on? There's some little clips at the end.
It's based on a real. It's called Breaking the Mummy's Code.
I love
and you have everything in there from mummies and Freddy Krueger and what. So you got these grown men putting on a play. And watching them in their antics and rolling around on the floor and being silly. But also it brings out these really warm feelings. I feel like I know anyone that I know who's watched it, they're very surprised because they go in thinking it's going to be one thing. And they walk out filled with so much hope and love for their fellow man. And I think that's what we need right now. We need more warm feelings, right?
We need those warm feelings.
We do.
So you're gonna win an Oscar for this. You have your speech written?
No.
No?
No.
What do? You gonna prep one?
No. You can't. I just feel like
you're gonna kill it. You are gonna kill it though. If you get up there.
I just think it's in like, I don't know, it's something. I'm a little superstitious about that. Yeah. Any award that I've ever won, a lot of times I'm working and I'm not able to be at an award show. Sure. Which I always feel like, well, maybe that's good because maybe I don't know, I'm gonna react like a weirdo or something. Yeah. Or I'm at the awards show and literally my publicist, she literally told me, she said, you didn't expect to win, did you? I said, I don't even think about winning. I just sit and I'm happy to be there. Yep. I'm just with a big smile on my face, hugging and kissing on people. And then I'm like, oh, wow, I got to get to the stage and say something. But then I try to trust that I'll be in the moment and I'll try to say something loving. I'll try to say something appealing to the moment. And that's all I can do. But I'm not going to be standing there like, oh, I want to first thank God, and I'll thank God on my own. But I feel like, you know what I mean? That's personal. I'm not judging people who do that. But I'm just saying that, like,
Wow.
Things got really dark here. No, I think it's important, but that's private for me. For me, I think I like to have those private conversations, and I'll say something to appeal to the moment. But I think, like, I'll thank you afterwards.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. I appreciate that. It would mean more on stage. I will say, another fun thing, though.
I mean, just say it.
Structurally, it'd be nice for my family to see it as well.
Okay.
So your docuseries, Social Studies, is about the first generation of kids that grew up their entire lives with social media. And I hate social media, for the record, and I also hate kids. And you made me actually feel empathy for them in this show, because I went into this docuseries thinking we're gonna see a bunch of like spoiled kids who are narcissistic, who are on social media, and they're just being total dicks. But instead, lo and behold, what we saw mostly is what struck me the strongest was these kids who you can tell they feel like something is wrong with them being on social media, and they are asking for help. And I didn't expect that.
Absolutely. I think that's why a lot of the kids participated. We started after COVID, and the usage had gone way up to 8, 9, 10, 12 hours a day. And I think they felt very trapped by it, very affected by it, and were really interested in being in this long-term inquiry where we filmed them for 1 year, and they gave access to their phones.
Right, and the access of the documentary is incredible, because you see them in the bedrooms, you see them using their phones. In some cases, you see them, like, the camera's on as they're using it.
Yeah.
And how did you hack their phones?
That's actually a really good question, because some of the programs were very difficult. So first it was a technological problem I had to solve. We hired an engineer.
You hired Anonymous to hack these kids.
We hired an engineer to
hack these kids.
The kids had all agreed to let us into their phones.
Okay.
That was the agreement.
Really?
That was the agreement. That was like the starting off, because I realized when I started this project that we needed to know what was inside these phones to be able to do this social experiment about what is the impact.
Of course, and you tricked them with candy.
So no, they had to. I talked to a lot of kids and their parents, and part of the ground rule was they needed to agree to do this.
And they just let you in. They let you in.
Well, it was a process, because we really built trust and spent a lot of time with them through the year. I mean, they definitely took it very seriously. They looked at my work. Their parents looked at my work. They didn't make the decision lightly. But even so, in the beginning, we found out later they weren't sharing everything with us, but their trust grew and grew.
Yeah, no shit. They weren't sharing everything.
But I was very transparent with everybody about what we were doing, and they had skin in the game. They wanted to participate.
Right.
But I still had to figure it out technologically, and I hired an engineer to help me, because one of the programs in particular doesn't want you to download it. And the engineer couldn't figure it out. So my 14-year-old son ended up helping me hack into the...
You turned to your son for tech support, But you got the access. The access is one thing. But what you actually saw and what you are showing in this docuseries is remarkable, I think. I mean, these kids are using social media. So are these kids going to be okay? Are they okay?
Well, you got to watch till the end. I think.
No, just tell me now. Just tell. We just need to know how this ends. Are they alive?
Yes.
What happened?
Yeah. By the 5th episode, I think we see that they do find their voice, and that's an antidote to this very toxic comparison culture. I think what we see in the show is that kids are suffering from 24/7 comparison. That takes away from everything. They never feel like they're enough, and kids have always looked at, like, what are the popular kids doing, or what are the kids at my school doing? But here they're looking at every person in the world, half of them who are not even real or who are enhanced, and they don't measure up. So I think that is so tough, and I think that's one of the reasons they participated, is because they wanted to talk about it and have a place to process.
Right, and I mean, okay, so them not feeling good on social media, no duh. Like, of course, I hate kids, and I could tell you that they're probably gonna. But I guess how much of that is just normal teenage awkwardness, and how much of this is social media playing a factor into it?
Social media has a factor on everything. I've looked at youth culture since the 90s, and social media is amplifying all of the problems of coming of age. I'll give you an example. 2006, I made my first film about eating disorders. It was called Thin. At that time, 1 in 7 girls suffered from an eating disorder. While I was doing social studies, in one interview, one girl said, half my friends have eating disorders from TikTok, and the other half are lying. What you see in the show, and that's where the silent clapping that you saw in the clip comes in, is it's so ubiquitous, it's so universal, and the kids are relating to each other. And we're not just talking about feeling bad about, not being the football quarterback. We're talking about self-harm, eating disorders, depression, even suicidal ideation. And these are things that many kids, even in our small group of 25, were dealing with.
Sure, but how does social media specifically, does it? I mean, isn't this just a teenage, kids are, we feel anxious. I remember feeling anxious. I barely had a pager when I was a kid. I'm like 39, so is that old? I don't know. Am I old? I don't know. Anyway, the point, I'm saying, I'm just saying, like, I also felt going to school awkward and comparisons. And so how much of this is just, are we blaming the wrong people here?
I mean, social media teaches values, and values change behavior. Like, for example, Sydney, in the first episode, she talks about how when she got on Instagram, she started posting her passion, which was photography, wasn't getting any likes. So she started posting her body, started getting a lot of likes. That leads to very provocative thirst traps, which you see this young girl talking about it in her bedroom. She looks completely innocent, sweatshirt, fidgeting nervously, pastel colors in the room. And then when you see the videos, you don't recognize the same girl. It almost could be like an OnlyFans site.
Okay, now you're scaring the shit out of everybody. So how do we, like, what's the solution here? Because again, one of the things that struck me in the documentary was, I can't emphasize enough how much the children in this, they were saying, they were using the phones, and they were like, we know this is bad, and we need adults to step in and help us, someone help us. And, and I think that's a marked departure from kids who usually think they're like telling the adults to off and give me some drugs. And these kids are like, these kids are like, hey, we need some adults here because we don't know what's happening. Can you please help us?
Yeah.
So how do we help these kids?
Well, I think you've touched on a huge problem, which is parents.
Drugs. Oh, yeah.
Well, it is a drug.
Yes,
it is highly addictive, and so they can't do it on their own. Like, and that's something I learned as a parent. I used to get upset with my son and blame him.
And beat him, yeah.
But it's like blaming a drug addict for an opiate addiction.
Right.
And
it's almost like it's like blaming. It's like giving your kids drugs and telling them not to use it while having drugs in your pocket as you use it. That's kind of what's.
Well, Jonathan says at the end, it's our lifeline, but it's also a loaded gun.
Right.
It's got this dual thing where you can't live without it, and you can't live with it. Mm-hmm. So what other thing is a lifeline that we would also say is as dangerous as a loaded gun?
No, oh, sorry, no. Yeah.
And I think they are calling out for help. Like Sydney says, it's kind of like when we learned that cigarettes had a connection to lung cancer. Mm-hmm. Like now we know social media has a connection to eating disorders and depression and suicidal ideation. We need to do something about it.
Right.
And they say, so let's get off. But then somebody brings up the existential question, do you exist if you're not on social? And all the kids are like, no, people forget about who you are.
Okay, yeah.
So what should we do? I mean, I think there are things that we can do. The algorithm does not have to be this way. The algorithm is this teaching tool that will literally take somebody who is just interested in a diet and eventually bring them down a path that could lead to an eating disorder.
Sure.
Or kids are self-diagnosing their mental illness. Mm-hmm. So the algorithm doesn't have to be like that. It's not like this in China. TikTok is educational. In fact, kids can't be on more than 2 hours a day.
Is that true? I don't even know.
And so it does. The algorithm is made by engineers to do exactly what it's doing, which is maximum engagement without any concern for young people's well-being. So of course it brings everybody, adults too, deeper and deeper into these dangerous rabbit holes.
Right.